540 WAUK, Milwaukee's real news and great conversation. And now on your FM dial at 100.3. Here's your Daily News Roundup.
With local news on 540 WAUK on 100.3 FM, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. 3 years after a teen was found dead in a towed vehicle, his family is taking legal action against the city of Milwaukee. A lawsuit from the family of 17-year-old James Stokes alleges officers did not fully search an SUV after a crash. They also allegedly ignored witnesses who urged them to look inside. Stokes was found days later at a city tow lot by the vehicle's owner. The family argues the death was preventable and is asking for compensation. A Waukesha County Sheriff's deputy is facing charges after investigators say he drove drunk with a loaded gun and 2 rifles in his car. Prosecutors say Daniel Matuzak was stopped in May after allegedly driving the wrong way on a Pewaukee highway. A breath test showed his blood alcohol level was nearly twice the legal limit. The guns were issued by the sheriff's office where he has worked since 2022. He's now on administrative leave as the case moves forward. There's a court date set for later this month. It's all news all morning from 540 WAUK on 100.3 FM. It's not a data center that might be going into an old Milwaukee Walmart. It's a computer research facility. That's the story being told by the owner of the Midtown Center site. Trent Overhue of Affordable Family Storage tells the Milwaukee Courier that the plan is for a computer research facility, not a traditional data center. He argues that it'll have limited water use and minimal noise. Some neighbors remain skeptical, pointing to environmental concerns tied to similar projects. The development would also include housing, storage, and a library branch. You can learn more about the project and share input at sessions scheduled at the site next Thursday and June 27th. 2 weeks after shots were fired at an Airbnb destination in Glendale, the Common Council has approved new regulations. By a 4-2 vote, they've limited the use of rental homes in the city, banning stays of 6 or fewer nights. Someone has to be available 24/7 to respond to emergencies, and the owner has to have proof of liability insurance to operate. Of the 17 Airbnb properties in Glendale, 13 don't have a required license and have been asked to stop renting. A proposed rail line connecting Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha is getting new attention after a study found it could draw nearly 2.5 million riders a year. The research was funded in part by a $5 million federal grant to the city of Racine and conducted by a consulting team. The plan would include frequent service and connections into Chicago through Metra. Supporters say it could boost regional travel, but major upgrades and funding are still needed. The project is being guided by a regional passenger commission. And that's the local update. It's all news all morning, 6 to 9 on 540 WAUK on 100.3 FM. News anytime at WAUKradio.com. I'm Stuart J. Waddles.
With Civic Media News, I'm Terry Miller. Severe storms swept across much of Wisconsin Wednesday, hitting areas like Madison, Milwaukee, Beaver Dam, and Appleton with strong winds, hail, and power outages. At one point, nearly 100,000 customers were without electricity, especially in counties like Dane, Jefferson, Waukesha, and Marathon. Winds over 60 miles per hour knocked down trees and power lines, causing damage in places like Fond du Lac and Oshkosh. There were also reports of large hail and a few isolated tornado threats. Crews are still working to restore power, with more storms possible later today. Voter participation in Wisconsin remains among the highest in the country, even as turnout edges down. A new national report ranks the state 8th overall, with more than 72% of voting-age residents casting ballots in 2024. That's a small drop from the last presidential election, continuing a slight downward trend. Researchers also note Wisconsin ranks low in trust in the federal government, but leads the nation in trust between people. Wisconsin is working to make it easier for people to visit state parks by combining admission passes with vehicle registration. State leaders say the partnership could simplify how residents pay for park access and plan trips. The effort is being led by WisDOT, the DNR, and Travel Wisconsin. They'll outline the details at a news conference this morning at Lake Kagansa State Park. And a strong spring turkey hunt in Wisconsin brought in nearly 48,000 birds. The DNR data puts this year's total well above recent averages. Experts say favorable weather has helped birds survive and reproduce. The season wrapped up May 26th, and officials say interest remains high, with more than 235,000 permits issued. More news can be found at civicmedia.us.
The Crew heads for home. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball. The Brewers return to Milwaukee to begin a 3-game series tomorrow night against the Philadelphia Phillies. The Brewers lost last night to the A's in Vegas 4-3, despite a good showing by right-hander Brandon Sproat, who gave up only 4 hits and 1 run through 6 innings.
It's good, 6 innings, 1 run. Yeah, it's great. Those are the results. But really, what I'm more proud of is just staying with the process and just keep, just stacking good days, stacking good work.
Manager Pat Murphy on Sproat's performance.
He attacked and he was ahead in the count most of the time, and very pleased with him. To go as long as he did, that's pretty good. Deserved to win.
NFL, Tucker Kraft telling reporters at minicamp he thinks he could be ready by week 1 against the Vikings. NBA, the Knicks were down 29 points and still came back to win 107-106 over the Spurs to take Game 4. It's the greatest comeback in finals history. With Sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. Partly sunny at first, then increasing clouds with showers and thunderstorms becoming likely later in the day. Some of those storms could be severe, highs in the mid-80s. For tonight, showers and thunderstorms in the evening with low temps in the upper 50s.
That's your Milwaukee News Roundup from WAUK. Find more news anytime at waukradio.com/news. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts.